Meghan is being put under too much pressure as Archie and Lilibet, non-existent children, are forced to come out. The royals are gathering, but Harry and his greedy narcissistic wife are once again left out in the cold, and the whole country feels regret and sadness about the news that Catherine has cancer. This is the main content of today's newsletter. Journalists at one of the UK's top news agencies are getting together with colleagues at France's biggest agency, Agence France-Presse, to put pressure on Meghan Markle and her husband Prince Harry to come clean about the children that nobody is allowed to talk about. Now, I suspect, but of course I don't have any real evidence of this other than whispers, that the Anglo-French media operation is being supported by the palace. Because obviously at this point, the palace understands that enough is enough. Perhaps they believe that now is the time to regroup and introduce Eugenie and Beatrice as A-lister working royals. The family's recent health problems has really encouraged the men in grey to focus on what's important. We've already heard the tragic news that the Princess of Wales has been suffering from an undisclosed form of cancer. It certainly looks like this could be the dawn of a new era at the palace, and the last thing they need are a couple of idiots like Harry and Meghan trying to distract everybody. Press releases have been flying out of Montecito, and of course, they're upsetting people who have been gagged. One press release said the Duchess of Sussex has instructed Jake Rosenberg, a New York-based photographer, to take pictures of Prince Archie and his sister, Princess Lilibet. The photo shoot would coincide with the launch of the Duchess's lifestyle and cookery brand, American Riviera Orchard. But what really upset people was the sentence, "The photos of the children will be for our own family and not distributed for general use." I mean, what kind of game is Meghan Markle trying to play? And how stupid is the public by going along with this ridiculous charade? I don't believe people are going to go along with it. We have never been able to officially verify those births, and her pregnancies were so suspicious. Let's remember, Meghan Markle and her hapless husband lied to everybody about the birth of the Archie doll. Their announcement claimed that Meghan Markle was in labor when in reality the child had already been born. And when Harry was filmed holding a baby that was allegedly only a couple of hours old, he accidentally messed up and he said, "It's surprising how babies change in the first 2 weeks." I mean, what was that all about? What could the explanation be? Now, of course, the late Queen's security services would have informed her a long time before that immaculate birth took place. It would really be naive to think anything else. And at the same time, the media, I'm sure, was issued with a gag order. From that day forward, none of the UK national publications have mentioned surrogacy, Meghan Markle, or fake pregnancy in the same sentence. The fact is, they couldn't even tell us that a gag order was in place. Even the birth certificates are really sketchy, as was the non-naming of the godparents. The paparazzi, they sure were out there in full force, but not one photo came out of any cars leaving or driving back to Frogmore Cottage. Honestly, folks, I think it's one giant scam, and I do hope it's going to be busted wide open very soon. There are also plenty of rumors as to why exactly the royal family has gone along with this whole charade. Blackmail and playing the race card, of course, have been mentioned. The royal family is lily-white. They're as white as white can be, and Meghan Markle knows that. Now, it's not because they're racist, but of course Meghan's going to play it like that. She knows exactly what she's doing. I support the UK, the monarchy, and the Commonwealth wholeheartedly, and Meghan, I think, has met her match. So maybe when all this happens, and if it does, Meghan won't at first realize how much power is against her, and I think she's in for a really harsh reality check. If it were me, I'd just break protocol and dive headfirst into it. She has literally made Prince Harry poor and desperate for his security in his old life. Maybe they should consider, though, getting a job. I mean, they've got bills to pay, certainly have legal bills to pay. Enough is enough. It's time to hit Meghan where it hurts. If I were in King Charles's shoes, I wouldn't be waffling. Meghan Markle has made millions of dollars, literally millions, trashing the royal family. If I were Charles, I wouldn't put up with it. This has to stop. But Charles is not like that. The thing is, Charles hates conflict. The British people and insiders have said he's like that, which is fine, but at some point he has got to be strong. He's the king. I do know, though, when William becomes king, all this insanity is going to come to an end. I think Charles has done a lot more about Meghan Markle than some have thought. I think he's different from William, though. William can do some real damage, and he's not afraid to do that when his father passes away or perhaps he's going to abdicate. Many of us don't really know all the details, but we know enough to form an opinion. So I think Meghan is going to meet her match. William is not going to put up with the nonsense. I don't know about you, but I am so looking forward to that day. It's time for this all to end. God save the king. And I really don't think that Harry is going to be brought down until William is king. And unfortunately, that could happen sooner than we would like to see it happen based on Charles's prognosis. So, about the incident with Harry and Meghan's invisible children, Meghan just had to announce to the world that she's hiring a photographer to take photos of the kids right after the whole Catherine family photo debacle. And of course, she had to announce the name of the photographer. Well, that's to prove to all of us that Meghan Markle would never make a mistake like editing her own photos. Just think about the comments. Meghan would never be caught in a situation like that, and she pays such close attention to detail. It was disgusting. Meghan is so desperate to show the whole world she's so much better than, smarter than Catherine, but she's not. And according to a source, how can Meghan have children when she had a hysterectomy according to her father? She has to stop yapping around. Go to work, Meghan. I mean, what kind of work are you even involved with? I also suspect that the reason the invisible children don't get a lot of media attention is because Meghan Markle is not the biological mother and she just borrows them for photo ops. Tyler Perry was named godfather to Lilibet, and apparently he left the baptism. I mean, it was a fake baptism, but apparently he didn't want any part in the christening after he discovered the truth. It's also probably related to the alleged scandal over Catherine's edited Mother's Day photo. I'm not going to call it a scandal because that's not what it was. But perhaps Meghan Markle is just trying to prove to everybody that she would never edit her own photos. Even so, maybe Meghan's going to think, why bother announcing that you're taking private photos of the kids? I suspect that if the right amount of money comes forward, the photos are going to be sold to the highest bidder. I still don't even know how a nobody like Meghan Markle, a piece of trash, landed a UK prince. I mean, how did she ever even make it to the UK? Her arrival and departure was peppered with sensationalism. Honestly, though, it just fizzed out because Meghan is not all that interesting, and most people at this point have rejected her. She wishes she could be the most famous person in the world, but that's never going to happen. Now, she is infamous, but true fame, that's never going to be hers. And now she's got to keep up this lie of the children, but I think it's becoming increasingly difficult. Because soon enough, I mean, if the kids are real, they're going to be speaking in whole sentences. Kids usually do that at certain ages. And they're going to say, well, where's my mommy? Kids do say some funny things. And in this case, it's going to be the truth. Commoner and a foreign one at that. I mean, divorce is coming, and Meghan Markle is going to get screwed. Now, Harry, I don't know how he's going to fare, but it's certainly going to be better than her. Or perhaps Harry lied to Meghan about pregnancy the whole time, knowing good and well that she could never have children. She's too self absorbed. She has had one goal ruined, and she disrupted the royal family. She found the weak link and she decided to trample all over it. Nobody, remember, was smarter or better suited to run the royal family than Meghan Markle. And she figured the late queen was old, so she could be as disrespectful towards her as she wanted to. King Charles she thought that she could charm. But William's going to be a whole different kettle of fish. William, Queen Elizabeth, Prince Philip, and Anne, truth be told, they all figured Meghan out from the very start. She's a failure, both in her career and as a human. She's about to understand that, too. So, the next part of this newsletter, I'm going to focus on Catherine receiving the love of everybody in the country and really the world too. Only now, I hope that Catherine truly realizes how much she is loved. I still feel so upset about what Catherine and the king are facing. Reading through tears and anger, I agree with what most people are saying. But still, I do not believe for one second that Meghan could possibly have anything to blackmail the royal family with. Even if they did live at Highgrove for a few weeks, they don't have anything. Camilla is way too smart to give Meghan anything to fight with, and she moved back into her own home while they were there. I'm sure she left her royal staff with strict orders to secure the king's private rooms. If anything, I would assume the king has a lot more incriminating evidence about Meghan Markle. So if she threatens them with blackmail, well, they can throw it right back in her face. I'm sure even the servants would had to have had footage of her stealing stuff or setting up recording equipment in the home. And if not, I'm sure that he has records about her sketchy past. I mean, MI5 and MI6 are not going to mess around with Meghan Markle. And I'm not talking about her dyed hair and her fake eyelashes. I'm talking about all the skeletons piled high in her closet. These days, also, nobody's going to believe any photo footage that Meghan Markle uses. She makes too many errors of judgment. I mean, Meghan Markle is sloppy in everything she does. Think about that image she released where she had reattached her legs on the wrong side of her body. I'm talking about that photo that was posted when Meghan Markle was out hiking with Marcus Anderson on Archofficial's birthday. The one that was supposedly taken the day of the king's coronation. I do wonder, though, if she was the artist that Virginia Giuffre commissioned to sort out her Prince Andrew lawsuit. She did admit to knowing Meghan Markle when her lawyer mentioned her as a possible witness. But anyway, let's go back to the recent incident, Catherine announcing her cancer diagnosis. Oh, it broke my heart to watch that video, and I cried. I mean, thoughts of William and losing his mother when he was so young entered my head immediately. I really hope that does not happen to his children. Please, God, don't let it happen. God bless Princess Catherine. I mean, even in that video where you could tell she wasn't feeling well, you could still see the kindness and the courage emanating from her. So I hope that the media, the press, and all those trolls who have bothered her of the last few weeks are hanging their heads in shame right now. And if they do want to focus on the royal family, well, why don't they focus on bringing down Harry and Meghan? At least they would be doing something good for once. But in the meantime, all thoughts and prayers are with Catherine. I hope that she makes a full recovery as quickly as possible. So the good news is that they're saying Catherine is undergoing preventative chemo for cancer. So that means that it's really not bad yet. God, before the surgery, she seemed so healthy. She seemed so energetic. And that's another thing that gives me hope for a full recovery. And I am so glad that she's got William and the support of the family, along with people like us who very much care for and support the royal family every single day. Bless her, bless the royal family, and bless all families. And what did Catherine do to deserve all that stress from the media? I mean, she's had to put up with a lot over the past few years, and I think that Harry and Meghan Markle are heavily involved in this. There have been so many insults and innuendos coming from those two about the family for financial gain. If you ask me, it's unforgivable. They have got to take full responsibility for what they've done. They need to be held accountable. In that video, I couldn't help but notice that Catherine looked so thin and so pale, and there was something about her eyes that you could just tell she's sick. It's so awful, not only for her, but for William, the children, and her parents and siblings too. I hope and I pray that as soon as possible she's back on her feet, makes a full recovery. And I do admire her so much. She is so brave. And I know a lot of people have said William should have been in that video with her. I don't think she would have let him. I think that she had to do this. And I know that she's going to beat this nasty disease. I can only imagine how difficult it was for her to explain to their gorgeous children what was going on. I hope God blesses all of them and gives them the strength they need to get through this. And I do hope that now the media will just leave them alone. They have got to deal with their situation with some privacy. And I'm sure Harry and Meghan are going to be plotting about how to use these tragic circumstances to their advantage. I do hope, though, they are finally exposed for all their lies and all. I hope that they're shamed, too. They deserve it. I'm praying for Catherine. I hope that she makes a full and forever lasting recovery. And I do hope that, she can handle all this in private. I hope the media leaves her alone. And most of all, I hope that Harry and Meghan can just put a stop to all their lies. That's the main information that I wanted to share with you in today's news. Thank you for watching the entire video. Please leave your thoughts below in the comments. Goodbye, and I'll be back to see you in the next videos.